Hey guys, Emelina Spinelli here and Austin Uliana from D.science, and this is our first podcast. We have the absolute pleasure of interviewing David Sherry from Death to the Stock Photo. So enjoy the interview. Thanks so much for being here, and let's start.
And this is my home office slash apartment. That you can kind of see here in the background. There's actually a Mailchimp toy that I have.
Oh, that's
It's like
awesome.
it's one of my prized possessions back there on the mantle there. So
Do you guys still use MailChimp, or did you go to like Aweber?
yeah, we're still on Mailchimp. And in fact, maybe that's a good place to start. If you want me to kind of just kick things off, because our kind of journey really started with Mailchimp. I'd actually say I'm kind of loyal to them just because we've been with them for so long now. But yeah, everything started with just a simple landing page, and it's all still on the internet, which is cool. If you go to join.deathofthestockphoto.com, that's literally, I mean, maybe we tweaked it a little bit, but literally the landing page that we started our business with in July 2013.
Nice.
So it was a simple landing page. The pain that we were trying to solve was one that me and my business partner, Allie, felt ourselves, which was how do you keep up with all of the different social media networks that are so image heavy today if you aren't a photographer yourself or if your brand doesn't have a photographer. So what was happening in 2013 was Tumblr was getting huge, Pinterest was getting huge, Instagram was getting huge, and basically the web was turning visual, but people didn't know how to continuously stay relevant or keep quality content to fill those channels. And so what we started to do, which is what that landing page said, was we basically said to the people in our community, which were other designers, other marketers, other social media managers, hey, we're both photographers on the side, and we have a bunch of extra photography that we're not even using. It's literally just sitting collecting dust in our Dropbox accounts. If we sent some of this to you for you to use in your projects, would that be helpful? And what we got was just a really strong response of people just saying, yeah, that was super valuable. Do you have any more of those photos? And so after a few months of sending people photos by email, we actually ran out of photos in our Dropbox and said, okay, well, what if we just went out and started shooting specifically for our community? So we'd set up shoots once a month. It'd be like a coffee shop theme or a startup entrepreneur theme or hanging out at the lake. And they would all just be really natural stories that actually mattered to us. Like if it was summer break and we were actually taking some time for summer break, we're like, let's just capture content that is actually how we're living our lives in these stories. So that's kind of how we got things kicked off. It was just an email list through MailChimp for, I think, 7 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I think email is an amazing way to build a network and to build value and to test a product before you build anything. It's free, essentially.
For sure. Should I pull the page up?
But we can pull it up
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, you can pull it up and check it out. It's literally still up. It still gets conversion for us. So
Oh,
that's
what's
awesome.
kind of amazing, yeah, what's kind of amazing, and I've heard people say this about like the old internet days, but our conversion and our open rate has stayed pretty high, considering. But that page at one time was converting about 50% of the people who hit it.
Oh wow.
So that was when we kind of realized that it was something we should keep pursuing a bit.
Wow.
It's just got a really good response, and that's honestly, and I know we want to get into community a little bit, but that's what kicked off our relationship to our community too. Was we had this email relationship with people where we were telling natural stories, we were providing value, and then we were getting to see the way that people were using the work we were sending them, and that allowed us to build a stronger relationship. Just in kind of having that dialogue, like, wow, it's amazing how you use that image. Oh, it's so cool to see that app you mocked up, and just having conversations like that.
Yeah, that's great. The landing page is like super simple. I remember seeing this
Yeah,
too
yeah.
for a
It's.
long
I
time.
mean, I should look at it just to give myself a refresher.
Some context.
Yeah. I think the only thing that changed was that background that didn't used to be a grid of stuff. I think that was just one image,
Mm-hmm.
and then we switched it up, and then we've always tried to kind of build our own stories into the project. So that's why it's like, has our names in there, and I think that probably just connects to like my Twitter or something like that.
Yeah. Cool.
But But yeah, so that's kind of how we got started. Is that landing page is a good history of it, and Mailchimp is still, yeah, that same kind of Mailchimp list that we've been building since the start is what we use to kind of communicate with our audience.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I can keep kind of riffing on stuff. I don't know if you have any more questions.
So,
I tend to ramble, so
no
I'm trying
worries.
to keep
That's
myself
perfect.
From going too far in depth with it.
So specifically, Death to the Stock Photo is free and paid subscription stock images that you guys take monthly, right?
Correct.
That's the
correct.
overall.
So we have a free email list that'll always be free. We've been doing it since we started, and those are photo sets that you receive just in your inbox. They happen once a month on the first of the month. More recently, we've been collaborating with other photographers or brands for those. Mostly because we realized that we have this great audience and community, and it seemed like a platform that we should be sharing and getting other people's stories out there and getting other photographers involved. So that's how the free email list works. And then if you're a premium member, you basically get double the amount of content, and it's all saved for you online. So it's a super simple web app. It's just basically a gallery of photos that keeps getting updated that you just do a one-click download on. And since the beginning, we've always built our content in a way that it all is under one license, which I think is another pain point that people have who are using stock imagery is, how can I use this? Am I going to get sued? Those are legitimate issues that people face all the time. And so what we said is, from the beginning, let's make every image under one simple license that gives people the freedom they need to do stuff. And working from different coffee shops, but more recently, I've been doing the home office thing, so it's been a good change. I think the hard part, and I'm sure you guys maybe even feel this too, is working late when your computer is next to your bed, and kind of just even separating the two has been tricky.
You know, I've actually found the hardest part personally is that when we're working at coffee shops, I'm so extroverted, I end up making so many contacts down here.
Yeah, we don't get that much done all the time.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes I literally have to be rude to people and be like, I love you so very much. I want to talk to you. I want to keep building our relationship, but I got stuff to do, and just push them away, you know.
Right.
But
but I think the headphones are a good little kind of trick to say these are in, which means we can't chat right now.
Yeah.
For some reason,
when people talk to you, just turn your volume up. You're like, yeah.
What? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, cool beans. All right. If you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Allie too, that'd be awesome.
Sure. So I got my start basically in school. I tried to launch so many companies over the years. Most of them dumb ideas. Some of them maybe had something cool there. All of them which failed, either quickly or slow, drawn-out deaths. And so I've been kind of used to just launching stuff all the time. I never really got to the point where I could pursue and see what the middle is like. So what's been really fun about specifically Death to the Stock Photo is I'm kind of in this new territory of oh, this is what happens when the thing you're doing continues and actually gets some traction. So that's been really fun. But my background is actually in economics, which is kind of funny.
Oh, really?
I definitely don't feel like an economics person, but I think there is some applicable stuff. But yeah, I did boring economic stuff in college. And then when I graduated, I freelanced for a year, basically working with a bunch of different startups around town. So my kind of pitch to companies, which is similar in a way to Death to Stock, was let me help your marketing messages stay relevant by providing you with a lot of content. So I was doing photo, I was doing video, I was doing writing, and that kind of led me to actually start pitching companies more formally on this concept of I'm your content person. This is 2012 or whatever, so not that many people were necessarily doing this, but it was hey, I'll just be your content machine so that your content marketing is taken care of and you always have enough stuff to say. So that's kind of how I got my start, was doing that before Death to Stock. Allie's background is in design. She is a super talented graphic designer, and then she basically started a company with her husband, Adam, which builds WordPress websites for a whole host of small businesses and different creatives. So they still run that shop. It's called the Wonder Jam. They actually do the design and dev work on the marketing site for Death to the Stock Photo.
Nice.
And yeah, I'd say Allie's a super talented. She's a really great photographer too. It's kind of funny for both of us that our background isn't photography. Uh, it's been really interesting and fun for Allie is the photos get used in so many places on the web that like her portfolio looks ridiculous. Like if she just wanted to be a photographer, because of this interesting, weird avenue of how we approach kind of the industry. I mean, you see Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, West Elm using Allie's images via Death to Stock. So it's kind of cool because like she almost hacked her way into the photography world through this method. So I think that's kind of an interesting piece that happened with this whole project as well.
That's awesome. That was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you is how did you guys get in with like Pinterest, Entrepreneur, all those guys? What did you end up doing with West Elm? Just more photo stuff?
Yeah, and so we're not even shooting specifically for them. They're just premium members of our app. So cool. They're just using it in their content. So Pinterest, we just saw some of their business emails. We're using some of our stuff. Xero, Slack, those type of companies. It's the same thing. It's just stuff we see around. We haven't really done a ton of dedicated shoots specifically for companies, although we've been having some interesting conversations with a few here recently. But yeah, I just think it's interesting. It's kind of like the idea that I'm sure you guys are kind of privy to, which is like you have to come in, if you're trying to like break into an industry, you can't go the standard way of like getting a degree. And so, you know, for me, I have an economics background, but here I am in this photography company. And Allie, who's not a professional photographer, her work is being used by brands like West Elm. And so I just think it's interesting. You almost have to figure out your kind of sideways way into these industries by trying something kind of different and you know, building your own style and doing it your own way. So, and that's really what our brand's about too. I mean, I think that the entire concept behind Death to Stock is that it's kind of an end to the stock path, or the stock way of doing anything. And so we're kind of always about nurturing creativity and pushing people to like kind of find their own way, like walk your own path. Don't just follow anybody else.
Yeah, I saw that on the site where it says like the new logo. We were looking at it today, and I love the little rallying call you guys have.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that was the reasoning behind doing that logo, and that whole project was in part that too. But yeah, and I think this even leads to thinking about competition. And I'm sure some people will probably give me advice otherwise, but I pretty much don't look at what I try to actually just put blinders on, because we just want to do like our own thing, and we just want to make stuff that impacts people or inspires them. So I'm kind of pumped when other people are doing other stuff. It's like, yeah, go do it your own way. But some people ask us like people will email and literally say like, hey, we want to do exactly what you do. Can you tell me how to start it? And I'm kind of just like, I'm serious. And I'm kind of just like, you could do that, but that doesn't even sound that fun. Like,
yeah.
Like, you should just do your own. You know, like why? I don't even think you would like doing what I do. You should find the thing that makes you excited and happy. Like, isn't it more fun to have your own brand and have your own kind of thing going? So I just think that's kind of interesting too.
This is why we get along with Dave, because your rallying cry, like doing everything differently, is exactly what like our branding course was when we were working on it. Because there's this formula that was out there from like these thought leaders like David Akbar and Marty Neumeyer and all these other people. We're like, that's correct, but not, because like it's too vague. And so we were like, and here's the sales formula that you're supposed to use. And we're like, no, do something different.
Well, it's what you were saying. Like it's so personal. People don't realize like just how personal building a brand is. So yeah. I don't know why they'd want to copy your stuff when they can do their stuff.
Yeah, and like the brand should kind of overflow from the people who are building it too. So I think if you can allow it to do that, then it's going to take its own form automatically. And so it's almost like you want to figure out more about yourself and keep learning about yourself. And when you do that, then and what you're doing is you're not even thinking about it. You're just doing stuff in a unique brand way. Like you just tweet something because you just thought it, and you just tweet it, and then it happens to be on brand. You know, a lot of people will spend a lot of time like trying to teach that, but I think what's really interesting is that we all follow people like this, where everything they just Instagram or tweet or whatever is just great, and it's just like them.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a lot more fun than tapping into that is more fun than trying to strategically learn what I should be saying.
Yes.
Agreed. I actually feel like most people are probably trying to learn what they should be saying instead of just tapping in. I don't know. It could probably be scary for people to put their personalities out on the line. So I think that's probably what stops a lot of people. But
oh, totally. Everybody on Earth could have a popular blog if they were just 100% honest. And 99.9% of people can't get past that filter of I have to filter myself for this audience. And I think anybody who's putting out an authentic voice and perspective is getting traction with building an audience. And it's everyone who's holding back because they're afraid of what people might think, or they want to fit in, or they want to write to some ideal that's someone else's kind of thing, and it just gets overlooked. So I think that's the cool thing is everybody has a great opportunity just if they can kind of figure out how to just really be themselves and put out content that like is what they're actually hoping to accomplish or what they dream about, all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very well said.
And especially with, we were talking about this earlier, Meerkat and Periscope now, it's 100% completely authentic because like you're in front of a live streaming audience. So I feel like that is a super cool platform, like you were saying, to just like get out there and build your audience and put your personality out there and like just be like, yo, this is me, like it or not, you know?
Yeah, all the YouTube people that are famous. If you look at like Ira Glass, like his breakthrough in the radio industry was not talking like a reporter. Like what he learned was that every time I talk, I'm trying to convey this voice and I have like this reportery tone. And as soon as he dropped that, that's what took shape. And that's what This American Life is kind of about, is this super casual, we're just being ourselves, we're being people, not reporters.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely really interesting. That's something, by the way, that Allie does very well. Like we'll be writing copy for stuff, and I'll literally just say, "Can you just talk?" And I'm just gonna write down what you say, because like you're just saying the stuff that we should be writing. And anytime we're trying to like, what would copy be for this? It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, and like I think that goes for anybody. Like so many times people are like, how do I make this sales script? How do I do this? And I'm like, just write like you were talking to a friend, trying to explain it to your friend, what you're trying to do, and it'll come across.
Yeah, and you get all those little gems, those like personality pieces that are just great.
Right. Right. Another way of thinking about this that I think is interesting is letting your customers talk and then basically recycling stuff that they've been saying to you. So I think if you are very stuck on copy, have casual conversations with your customers and then let the way that they describe your brand or product overflow into the way that you start describing your brand or product. And so I think if you are feeling pretty stuck, that's a great way to do it too.
Hey guys, Emelina Spinelli here. Thank you so much for joining us for this video content with David Sherry from Death to the Stock Photo. We actually do have about an hour's worth of content. We just got cut off with the video. So if you want to see the rest of the interview, please find the description link below to the podcast and check out the podcast, and you can see the entire hour's worth of content. It's amazing. So thanks so much again for joining us. And when you get a chance, go over to deathtothestockphoto.com. Definitely sign up for a free photo subscription, and if you can, head over to the premium. It's totally worth it. Austin and I have been doing it for probably at least a year now, downloading their awesome photos, and you can probably see them all across our blog. So hope that helps. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.